Hello, I'm Panos Kotzathanasis, and this is Bad Accent Video Reviews. Today we're going to speak about Wim Wenders' Perfect Days, a film which premiered on 23 May 23 at the 76th Cannes Film Festival, where it competed for the Palme d'Or and won the prize of the ecumenical jury and the Best Actor award for Koji Yakusho in one of the best performances of the Japanese veteran. It was nominated for the Best International Feature Film at the 96th Academy Awards, becoming the first film not directed by a Japanese filmmaker to be nominated as the Japanese entry. Regarding the story of the film, it revolves around Hirayama, an elderly man who works as a public toilet cleaner in Tokyo's upscale Shibuya ward, across town from his modest home in an ungentrified neighborhood east of the Sumida River. He repeats his structured ritualized life every day, starting at dawn. He dedicates his free time to his passion for music, listening to Patti Smith, Nina Simone, and Marvin Gaye in truly great taste, which he listens to in his van to and from work through cassette tapes. In another note that he is kind of retro and he has stick to his routine for years. He also reads a lot, mostly Faulkner, Patricia Highsmith, and the essays of Aya Koda, and which he reads every night before going to sleep, while occasionally he discusses the books with the owner of the bookstore he frequents. He also dreams, with his dreams shown in flickery impressionistic sequences at the end of every day, with Wenders having included this part probably to break the tone of the film, which is it's of repeated fashion. However, there are also some people in his life. He's not always alone, of course. He has a colleague, young Takashi, who is always late. He does not do any kind of good job, and actually even mocks the protagonist for being so diligent in his work. One day, his girlfriend Aya also shows up, and Takashi asks for Hirayama to loan him his car, which he reluctantly does. And even later on, he even asks for some money in order to go to the bar that his girlfriend Nico is working and spend some time there. Hirayama reluctantly indulges him, even having to sell some of his tapes at some point to have more money. But the young man is not exactly thankful. I think this is actually kind of a comment, a bit conservative, I may say, since having another guy who is diligent, careful, good at his work, and very balanced, and a young man who is essentially immature and one can say a loser. He has no money, he doesn't like his job, and his life is in shambles. But it is a comment about how perhaps could be perceived as a comment about how the younger generation is and how better the older generation was. I guess in a remark that comes with the territory, considering the age of the director. At some point, his niece, Hirayama's niece, Nico, appears and spends some time with him, shedding some light in his family situation, with the girl thinking that he is in bad terms with her mother, Keiko, who eventually also shows up, mentioning an issue with their father, and in general, as I mentioned, shedding some light to Hirayama's family situation, which is not exactly great. But at the same time, the fact that Keiko is surprised that Hirayama is cleaning toilets for a living shows that perhaps he was much better off in the past or something like that, and that this is a choice that could have come of regret, although the rest of the film shows exactly the opposite. There is also a woman who is a restaurant owner Hirayama frequents, and her former husband who appears one day and even kind of stalks, let's say, Hirayama, and resulting in a very funny scene by the river where the two of them end up shadow playing in order for Hirayama to cheer them on. Okay, so the style of the film is inspired from the style of Yasujiro Ozu. Wenders was pretty clear about that, and it's rather obvious. It's rather obvious in the minimalist approach to storytelling. The focus on ordinary life without any exaltation, without any spectacular events or any action or whatever one can say. And also visually in the 4:3 aspect ratio of the film. All of these are nods to Ozu style, as much as that the name Hirayama was also a character name in films like Tokyo Story and A Not on Afternoon. In the same path, it becomes evident that for Wenders, life is beautiful and not in contrast to anything or despite anything. For him, being normal is a triumph of life, and the message is that no matter what you do, you can be happy and have a great life, even if you are not doing anything special. Essentially, it also says that achieving happiness is not that difficult, and one can find big comfort in the simple everyday joys of life, like music, reading, or the other tendencies that Hirayama has. At the same time, and in a concept that seems rather Japanese, let's say, or Oriental, one could say, the film also says that one can enjoy their own smallness and even mediocrity, and playing a little part in the city and country's organism with joy. And this is okay. It is okay. One does not have to be ambitious and achieve his goals, his big goals to be happy. People can be happy just by doing what they like, no matter how small that is. Again, small in quotes. At the same time, there is an aspect that celebrates Tokyo and especially the particular area where, okay, even the toilets there are works of art. The presentation of them is impressive throughout the film, and in general, it's like it's astonishing to watch, particularly the visual effect. Some of them have that they seem transparent when you look at them from the outside, but once you go inside and you turn a switch, the whole thing blanks and nobody can see inside, which is really, really impressive to watch in another testament to how Japanese think and their life's work. At the same time, okay, and as we mentioned before, Perfect Days is definitely a one-man show with Koji Yakusho being truly outstanding throughout the film. The quality of his acting, his range, his depth, his charisma are all rather evident here, cementing the fact once more that he is one of the best actors of his generation, and that's worldwide, not just Japan. In general, his performance is outstanding throughout, but I feel that the zenith of his performance comes in the last scene, where he sits in a car. He just sits in his car. He listens to Nina Simone's "Feeling Good," and shows in his face various psychological statuses, like he's happy, he's sad, he's smiling, he's laughing, everything. And he does it with so much easiness and so naturally that you can the only thing that you can do is admire him. It's outstanding. His performance is outstanding, and the awards he won are fully justified. Wenders directs with precision, which is, I would say, the main aspect of both his direction and the production values in general, with both DOP Franz Lustig cinematography and Tony Frotzhammer's editing following the same path. Very precise cuts, very timely, and the cinematography utterly realistic without any exaltations, in perfect resonance with the overall aesthetics. At the same time, however, this is where the issues with the film emerge. So evidently, okay, you have Japanese actors, the setting is in Japan, and we can say that this is a Japanese film. But I feel that Wim Wenders kept one of the worst qualities of local cinema, and that is the lack of tension, which is nowhere to be found in the film, which for me at least ends up being flat and kind of dull after a point. Koji Yakusho's performance definitely saves it, but I think that's it. If there was someone else there, the quality of the film would be much worse, since it mostly comprises of a series of essentially uneventful events, if I can say that. Okay, I understand that this is a tribute to Ozo, and that was Ozo's style for the most part also, but I feel that this time and age, so many years after Ozo's work, something different can take place in cinema, and in general I was not satisfied by this part. At the same time, the fact that the director is German, and as far as I can see, the DP and the editor, it makes the film quite European, which is also, I guess, the reason for all these awards and the selection throughout. Okay, this is not, I don't mean that the film is bad, on the contrary, but the issues are there, particularly regarding the fact that it addresses art house fans, festival and European festival goers, which is occasionally painfully evident. So this is for me. Okay, I've read a number of reviews that considering a masterpiece. For me, it's not a masterpiece for sure. It's a very well shot film. It highlights how precise Wim Wenders can be, but the lack of tension prevents it from being a masterpiece. Okay, let's just say if we were to give it a rating, I would be a bit somewhere between 7 and 7.5, but definitely not 8 or above. On the other hand, if we were to rate Koji Yakusho's performance, that would be a huge 10 without, I feel, any disagreement that he's perfect. It is impressive to see him at this age being at the top of his game. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoy these videos, please like and subscribe, and see you soon. Have a nice day.